Okay, and then there's chat. Yeah.
Got everything?
Yeah. Oh, wait, I don't need this up anymore. There's just one more thing.
Oh, Jonathan, wouldn't that be delightful if we were in a cave every time we're delayed?
Yeti.
Uh,
There we go.
I don't know how David would feel about that, but
Yeah. All right.
and hello to everyone.
Yeah, hello. There we go. Lexergy is up and running. So,
That reminds me, for Lexergy, I need to try my login again since the last update. So that way I can try to start making little changes to the background files
right.
when they're little changes.
Is logging in supported now?
It should be. I had a hiccup, but with the more recent updates, I would need to try again, and I forgot. So.
By the way, I hope Jonathan is referencing this photo of us in the cave where, like, 100% it looked like it was photoshopped, even though it was real.
It did.
Like, even after I took it right then and looked at it, I was like, that looks photoshopped.
It's the way the light created like a little white halo all the way around the people. But yeah, and that was actually like when we actually entered the cave. There was a spot where you could stand in front of a green screen and like get your photo taken as a group, and like then you buy it, but then suddenly it's like it's no longer a green screen, it's like this view of a cave. And both of us were like, well, we don't want to do that because it's just a green screen. Let's go take our picture for real. And we did. And it may have looked worse than had we done the green screen.
Yeah, and I think it's because, of course, if you're really in a cave, as we were in deep underground, the natural lighting is zero, of course. So everything that's in there is going to be unnatural lighting, and it's going to be lit in a way, so that you can see the caves, that it looks neat. Probably just has that effect on people.
Jake is pointing out that it may have been my natural glowing aura that gave us the outline.
Yeah. So, sorry, I was delayed. It came to a major decision. I mean, minor when all things are considered, but major for me when I realized I've been working on radically redesigning the magic system for Savala, and in so doing, I made it so that folks aren't choosing magic from schools anymore. In fact, the schools are, if anything, they're just going to be passive knowledge that you might have to dig for. Nobody will ever learn about it. But instead, there's going to be spells assigned to classes, and for that it made sense to recolor them. So now they're no longer colored by magic school, they're colored by class. And somehow, like, there was a disconnect in my brain that the main class that I was just calling casters is a default. For some reason I saw them as being kind of like mainly fire and stuff, but it turns out that their primary element is actually gas, air. That fire is secondary, or plasma is secondary, liquid is secondary. Whereas the other class that I kind of thought of as an earthy class, their main element is liquid, and that's now relevant for these classes. Now the classes have essentially a primary element and two secondaries on either side, rather than being able to draw from any of the three. And so what that caused me to do was swap the class colors of two classes that are very strongly associated in my head, so I'm going to have to buck against it, but it makes more sense. Anyway, but just to kind of throw them up there so you can see, this is what the newly redesigned magic cards are looking like. They're first, they're horizontal now because it makes better use of the space, and there's no longer ranks for spells. Instead, you can get multiple copies of the same spell, and then if you have, say, 2 or 3 copies of a spell, it does more stuff. And so in this case, it always has the same effect, but as you add more cards, the range increases. And so this is the caster. This is the one that was formerly blue. It's now kind of a greeny. And the one that used to be kind of greeny is now blue, because it just makes more sense. Anyway, one of a host of changes that are coming down the pipeline, including now having some pretty wild triple magic school spells that I think make a lot of sense. And so now our mighty opossum can actually raise people from the dead, or at least from having been fainted and out of action, which is, of course, that is the primary purpose of the opossum way. So I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, so yeah, in just swapping the colors, it was copying and pasting, and so that's why we were 2 minutes late. Very sorry. Now we will put that away, and I will address the other LangTime relevant thing, which is that you will have noted that there was no poll this week. That wasn't for lack of effort. In fact, can we borrow your... So the next step is going to be kind of turning images into potential glyphs. And Jessie has drawn up some fantastic images, which is, her part of the process. It was just mine that got held up a little bit. And because, what I wanted to do is then take those images and then kind of, evolve them, unite them visually, and then see how they turn into glyphs via our chosen style. And frankly, I just didn't have time for that. Yeah, I know, the little teeth, just darling. There were a couple of things that I wanted to do. Thankfully, Jessie went back and added, because one thing that we always have to do as we do these polls is figure out if we actually have words already for any of these images, because that delimits what they can stand for, right? So we needed to do that, and there was also some work that needed to go into it ahead of time, like I need to figure out how many glyphs there are going to be to see if we actually need more images, because I think we might.
I think we may too. And yeah, this was really just meant to be a starting point.
Yeah, in fact, maybe we can kind of just do that really briefly right now, just map this out. The way that this writing system is going to work is that there's going to be an empty, right? Mm-hmm. Just like in Wokuthiju. And then consonant initial. But then for each consonant, there's going to be 3 glyphs. So there's going to be, like if it was K, for example, there would be Ka, Ki, and Ku. And so that means for each proto-consonant plus the empty, we need 3 glyphs. And then... what a bizarre thing. I'm sorry, this is just so weird that I have to mention it. Jonathan is saying that YouTube chat isn't allowing them to type a regular straight apostrophe. They're having to use the slanty one. What a bizarre thing to prevent. It's like forcing smart quotes.
Huh. That's amazing.
Is this new? Uh-oh, Patrick just boomed you.
When you say empty, do you mean empty like a K with no vowel?
No, the opposite.
So in A, I, and U.
Yeah. But of course those could just be... and so the thing with our chosen style of writing system, with the...
Can you explain that again?
Yes. I think I hope that this will make sense. I hope that folks have some familiarity with hiragana. I'm going to use that as an example. Hiragana doesn't work this way, but I think it will serve as a very nice example. The K series is often one of the most recognizable. And then, okay, we're going to need that. Where's the K series? Isn't it usually near the top? There it is.
Dino-nid, we need to make workant a new contraction. This workins?
Cool.
Or as Vetus Nova says, mightn't. Mightn't workant.
All right. So let's okay, let's say what these things are. Ignore what this one is in Japanese for the time being. But this one is ka. This one is ki. And this one is ku. And this one, we're going to, in Japanese, it's a syllabic N, but we're going to leave it aside for right now so that I can demonstrate how this works. So the way that our writing system is going to work is like this. Let's say that you have this written here, so this can all appear on the screen. I'm going to do it over here. So let's say you have this. This is going to be ka ka. All right. This will be ka ki. Wait. No, I'm sorry. That's wrong. It's wrong, but I'll show you why it's wrong in a second. Okay, this is kaku, right? Okay, this is the way hiragana works, and the way that you would ordinarily expect this to work. In other words, the glyphs stand for a syllable. You put them together, and then that's what it is. However, that's not the way that this one is going to work. This will actually spell that. This is called synharmonic cancellation. In other words, you have two of the same glyph in a row, and what that signals to you is that you don't actually pronounce the second vowel. This is what's going to give us our CVC forms. All right? And then in order to cancel that, if you actually wanted to spell that, you would have to do this. And all this glyph tells you, it says, you know what? You actually pronounce that thing. And this is how the writing system works. The thing that made sense for this style of writing system for the Beaver language is that we have these syllables that are CVC or CVV. And so after that, essentially, I think that what we're going to do is kind of use just the a, e, u vowel characters afterwards. The question of synharmonic cancellation does come in because it's like, well, what does that mean? If it's just like a long vowel, especially if it's two ahs in a row with no other thing on there. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. If something's going to start with a long vowel from an old double vowel sequence, it might need to be spelled vowel canceller. But anyway, that's how this type of writing system is going to work. Synharmonic cancellation was used, I believe, in Mayan epigraphy, and I'm sure that Bibleridian can confirm that. Anyway.
But to confirm, we will need glyphs for each of the three proto-vowels.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And vowel sequences that are diphthongs.
No.
No, I was in the middle of talking. Vowel sequences that are diphthongs we would spell out each of the vowels. We would not need to have like, for instance, our protoform for grass is audas, A-U-F-A-S. And so we would use an A and a U in some combination, but we would not need an AU glyph.
Yeah, essentially like audas to kind of show everybody. Oh my goodness! Sorry. Audas, like this is modern romanization, would be spelled A-U-tha-sa. And again, the synharmonic cancellation tells you that you don't pronounce that A.
Unless there's an empty glyph at the end to say it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
And so the only reason you would use an actual vowel glyph is if it's on its own with no onset or working in conjunction with another vowel.
Yeah.
Okay.
So incidentally, Dark Horse has made an interesting suggestion. So of course, obviously, one of the proto images was going to be a beaver tail, but specifically using that beaver tail for canceling the cancellation might be interesting. So we can make a note of that. But what we need to do now is count up the proto-consonants. So we have P, B, dental T and D, regular T and D, that's 6. K and G, that's 8, right?
We have 24.
Okay, Jesse is much faster at counting. So we have 24 proto-consonants. 24 times 3.
72.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that includes the empty?
No, 24 times 3 is 72. Now you want an empty. That takes us to 73, and 3 more for vowel only equals 76 at minimum.
Yeah, so there's the 3, and then
I have 32 drawings.
Yeah. So the extra 4, I assume, are like there's the a, e, u, and then the cancellation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 76. Yeah. So that was one of the things that gave me pause. We need a lot more drawings now. One of the reasons that I actually chose hiragana to show you, both hiragana and katakana in this regard, is that it's one of the I think it's the only writing system
Get Jonathan's comment
in the world. The only syllabic writing system in the world, and when I say syllabic, I'm including syllabaries and abugidas, where the relationship between consonants and vowels is not consistent in any way. That is,
I feel the Cherokee syllabary is in line with that statement.
Oh yeah, if you want to do just a random one, I mean, like it's basically a conscript, and
every writing system is basically a conscript. This is something that humans sat down and created.
This is true. Here, I'll show you what we mean here. Let's just pick out another random one. How about we'll do the N series. Okay, so we have K here, N here, and then up top, basically E, U, and then and then gosh,
The double spacing. It wants you to end your sentence.
And like you can add some more consonants in here, but basically there's nothing that unifies the a, e, u, a, and o columns, and there's nothing that unifies the n and k rows. There's no part of it that it's like that's definitely k, that is definitely a. Like from a small sample size, you might think, oh, what about this little line? But no, that little line only appears randomly in those two, and you can see it's not the same little line. So this is just completely kind of random. And the reason it is because, of course, all of these characters go back to Chinese characters, simplifications of Chinese characters that had similar pronunciations. Now, some of them were built, and so we might consider doing that. For example, if you studied hiragana, the voiced versions of most, if not all, of the voiceless ones have a stroke above them. So K is the same as G, but these two little lines on the top have the difference, show the difference. Also, H, if you put a little circle above H, it turns into P, and there are historical reasons for that. So we might look at that to reduce the number of glyphs. And then there's also like many systems in there. I think this takes more study, and I don't know the history of the kana as well. But I think there are many systems in there where it's like some of them were artificially built, not directly simplifications of Chinese characters.
Conscripted, you mean?
A few of them, yeah. Anyway.
I'm ragging on you now.
No, I know.
So, one quick question then. Is just thinking about the glyphs themselves and like the protoforms they're related to.
Mm-hmm.
Should we ignore coda consonants? And so by that I mean like key is a wonderful example because the protoform key is just CV and it means stick, done and done. But then you have something like I had an image for grass, which is audas.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not a good image to use or a good word to use because it's got a diphthong at the beginning, no consonant? And so then it's like, would that represent the A? Would that be a good representative? Same for something like the beaver tail. Its protoform is flap. And so it does have a coda consonant. So would that be viable for something like hla?
Oh, yeah.
Are we going to ignore its, phonetic? Pizza is clover. Could that stand for P, or is that too heavy? So anyway, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, the only problem is we did kind of have this idea that with the specific example that flap might be the cancellation, but
that's fine. I'm asking about the phonetic structures.
Absolutely ignore the coda. Obviously, yeah, grass is a little bit problematic, isn't it?
Just so unfortunate. It was a cute little image.
Yeah, and grasses are really it's low hanging fruit.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we're not only gonna need more images. We're gonna need, because not all of these had words yet. So we could, if we like the images, obviously assign phonetic forms as necessary. But like we need a heck of a lot more words.
Hang on.
What?
I think Patrick, as a joke, was abusing his moderator privileges.
What? And then it deleted every message by Jonathan. Oh my God. Patrick, do we have to take away your powers?
We already did.
Wow. And I'm not able to undelete. Like I'm trying to undelete so that way they're back. Jonathan, I'm so sorry.
At least there was at least there's the video record of it.
Wow. Exactly, Artifaxian. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. This should go over there.
Oh, and now Jonathan has moderator privileges.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
Oh my god. We got a little jinx situation with the tables turning. That's amazing. Um, yeah, Patrick, I mean, to be fair, I didn't know that that happened either. However, the only reason I've put a user in timeout is if we've given a warning and said, stop posting this nonsense.
oh yeah. We had stuff like that back in season 1. I think that was
Oh my
done by
goodness.
that was done by like season 3, except for
Well, this certain,
the thing which
yeah,
we won't mention lest it come back.
and yeah,
Yep.
it's LTS Game of Thrones crossover. Yes.
Yeah. So the one thing that I love about the relationship between the diacritics in Japanese kana and the symbols themselves is that historically a lot of those forms arose as a result of lenition, something like that. Um, that's not the case with ours. The whole thing comes in voiced and voiceless pairs, and so it doesn't make sense to like apply a diacritic to some of these unless you just do it across the board. And for some reason, like voiced ones are always just going to be a diacritic of the voiceless ones. I don't know.
The one that I thought was a potential, like if we wanted to reduce, I mean, obviously, yeah, you're absolutely right. If we do it in one place, we need to do like some sort of voicing or voiceless diacritic across the board because everything is set up that way. This wouldn't reduce it by much, but having, like, I think they would even recognize that like a T is very similar to a dental T. And
Yeah.
having some sort of like dental mark, but that would only help for reducing it by 2, maybe by 4 if you want to consider
Yeah.
dental, or like I guess the F could be the dental mark of a 5 because it's like you're using your teeth in the same,
I can
but it would really not reduce a whole lot.
I can see this. I can see there are a number of different patterns and possibilities here. By the way, I think we should make this a poll-rich stream to make up for our lack of weekly poll. But I love the idea of the dental or toothy mark, and I can see that being applied to the alveolar stop. Below, I can think of a number of options. I can see the dental mark being applied to the alveolar fricatives by analogy. So th is a toothy s. I could also see them applied to the labiodentals. So in other words, th is a labiodental, or sorry, is a dental, right? Because there's more acoustic similarity between labiodentals and dentals in terms of fricatives than between alveolars and dentals.
Two things. One, you have officially summoned Toothus. I heard you say Toothies. Two, as Dino Nid is pointing out, we have the voiceless approximants and nasals on the wrong side. Voiceless should always go before voiced.
Yeah, you're right.
Anywho, so thank you, Dino Nid.
I always think that
Whoops.
the more basic one comes first, but no, it makes sense.
On an IPA chart, it's voiceless on left.
Absolutely.
Okay. Ooh, magpie, a dental diacritic or a little bite mark.
Yeah, or a little tooth
Chop,
mark.
chop.
Little chop chop. So
A dental critic. Patrick is working his way back into the good graces of LTS comment.
so I have a number of proposals. And I think we can actually make a 4-option poll out of this. But what I want to do is I want to write them up on the screen. We're going to put it here temporarily.
I'm going to fix the W's while you...
Oh, sorry, the W's. Yeah, I didn't do that one either. Thank you. So the poll, this poll is going to be fairly complex, so that's why we're just gonna when we write the thing up, it's just going to be A, B, C, or D. So option 1, tooth mark on TD produces dental TD. Sorry, I don't want to do the toothy thing. Let's see, can we do this? Can we do that? Tooth mark on SD, SZ produces theta and eth. And then we'll call this tooth mark on phi and beta produces F and V because it goes from both lips to involving the teeth. That's option A. Option B. Continue from previous, please. Very good. Okay, tooth mark on that one. Okay, tooth mark on FV produces F theta. And then we'll call it a ellipse mark on FV produces phi and beta. All right. So that's C. And now, or that's B. For C, we're going to mix.
A lip smart.
Is a smark a smack that leaves a mark?
No.
So no, like, you know, like
it's when you snark so hard that it's like your opponent gets verbally smacked. It's a smark.
I was thinking, like, you know, you give somebody a loud kiss, it's like a smack, right? If you do that with lipstick, it leaves a smark. And then
vicious mockery, exactly. Auto fun lip smark. Are you trying to think of one more because you're doing some sort of...
Yeah, this is, and the last one is going to be this. It's, I'm going to call this a forward mark.
Oh, and Jonathan, I misread that as a capital I instead of an L. So I was like, how does I pharyngeal sound like elf original to you? And then I was trying to figure out how you said elf to sound like I've. And then I realized that that was a little L. And that made way more sense. Right, Jake? I pharyngeal.
And so I'm going to put, oh dear, put here in, so this is 2 total, wait, 1 total diacritic. Let's see.
Because it's all a tooth mark.
1 diacritic, there we go. 2 diacritics. This one's 1. This one's 2. I'm not going to start the poll yet, but I am going to write it up here. I'm going to go over these. Okay. So this is what you're looking at. You're looking at a couple of different things, whether we're going to have one diacritic or 2 different diacritics, and then what those diacritics essentially are going to mean, how they're going to be used. So for A, we have one diacritic and it's tooth. It's toothy. Basically, it says these 2 sounds are toothier than these 2 sounds. And so it takes alveolar T and makes it dental. It takes alveolar S and Z and makes those dental, and then it takes bilabial F and V and makes those labiodental. So all of this, it's like one diacritic, and it says these are toothier. I want to jump to D. D is one diacritic, but basically it says these sounds are further forward in the mouth. And so it takes alveolar T and D to dental. It takes alveolar S and Z to dental th and the, but it also takes labiodental F and V, f and v, to f and v. So it just basically means it's more forward, and the lips are more forward than the labiodental position. So those are your single diacritic options, A and D. If you like the 2 diacritic options, this is a little bit more like kana, where you have the voicing mark and then the circle that means essentially it's P. For B, you have the toothy one that says essentially it's more toothy. But for option B, it takes the both of them are going to take alveolar T and D to dental T and D. It's the middle one that's different. The middle one for B says that F and V are more acoustically similar to theta and eth. And so the tooth mark takes those backwards to the tooth region.
And that's also happens in a lot of dialects where theta and eth are substituted out for F and V.
Right.
So it's very common.
For C, on the other hand, it goes with our alveolar to dental that we see for the other 3 options. That is, S and Z are becoming dental, th and the. For both of them, however, there's a separate diacritic that says these 2 sounds are now pronounced with both lips. So f and v go to f and v for both of them. So I think I'm going to actually... Here. This is kind of unique for these 2, and we're going to make them red. So these are kind of similar, and these are how they're different. These 2 are kind of similar, but these are how they're different, and specifically it's this one right here. So hopefully that helps to illustrate the differences between these options for you to consider. All right, ready? Here we go.
Oh, wow, you were actually typing the poll as you did that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You know, sometimes I have to work extra hard when you're explaining things to make sure I'm actually listening to the words you're saying, because I like the sound of your voice so much that sometimes I get lost in the sound of your voice. And then I have to remember I'm supposed to be paying attention to the words and not just how much I love how you speak. I just want you to know that.
I think Artifexian makes a salient point. We might need to do a runoff vote for
You
this.
say salient?
Oh, boy.
I say salient.
Well, let's take a look. Unless we have one option that's the runaway winner.
That may be our quietest mail drop yet.
Yeah, I bet y'all didn't even hear it.
Like, I wonder if they started to deliver mail and then they looked at the address again and went, nope, and, like, took it back. Because that didn't even sound like it went through.
Apologies. It is salient, and it's only salient, apparently. So, my bad there. Even General Australian, it's their version of that, that diphthong.
Ooh.
Salient.
Yeah, a lot of people are with me too as well. So I am backed by patrons and Wiktionary alike.
Look at this.
That's a what? Move that over. They can't see it. I don't think.
You're right. I think it means jumping. In heraldry, I think it means jumping.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, what a delightful image.
Let me double check on that. Heraldry depicted in a leaping posture. Yeah.
But yeah, we can do all the runoff polls, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, excellent. We've got not quite. Wow, I'm getting political texts right now asking for $40. Um, okay. Yeah, no, I won't, Patrick. I'm not even going to say it out loud because I'm not sure what I'd be getting myself into. But that seems fascinating.
It looks like we do have more viewers, but it looks like we've stalled out on the votes.
Yeah, we just pulled in a vote right now, but I think we
Yeah.
should end it. We've got
Yeah, I
two in
think
the
that.
lead.
Yeah, I think we're gonna. It's not a runaway favorite. That is, it wasn't more than 50%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate C and D. We're going to have a runoff between A and B.
Which is really the only unfortunate thing about eliminating D is one of the things that I was being delighted by as you were speaking was how you pronounced forward when you talked about it as being a forward mark. Because sometimes when you emphasize that word, you take the R a little bit away from it and it's like forward. And like
Oh, yeah.
it's really a lovely pronunciation. And that's what made me start daydreaming. And so sorry you guys. It's just a love fest over here. And I'm trying.
So,
Oh, is that you, Jake, asking me for $40? Is that what's happening?
there was a famous study by William Laboff, apparently, or not. I always said Laboff, but apparently it's Laboff.
Sorry, anyone who addresses me as Jessica doesn't know me.
Yeah.
That's how I know.
By the way, this I'm sure was a study that didn't get IRB approval, but
The asking for $40?
No.
Oh no, those studies are actually famous as being never could have happened post 1970s because of the
yeah,
just huge amount of violations because people didn't know they were being recorded. And the amount of the recordings that ended up getting released. And so it's like, it wasn't just that he transcribed and said X number of people did this sound this way. It's that like those recordings were like full on released.
yeah.
And so you hear like all these conversations that people had no idea.
Yeah, but essentially, this study was he went to upscale department stores in New York City, and he went to the people that worked there, and he knew the department stores, so he specifically asked for some department that he knew was on the fourth floor in each one, whether it was shoes or women's hosiery or whatever. And he would say to the person working there, if let's say it was a shoe department, he would say, where's the shoe department? And they would respond, fourth floor with coda R. Then he would say, what was that? Could you say it again? Even though he heard it. And they would repeat it, but this time a little louder and slower. And they would often produce an R-less version, say fourth floor. So in other words, when his conclusion was that when they were, working and, in possession of themselves, they would have this kind of they would put on this accent where they would reintroduce the coda R's. So they would be sure to articulate fourth floor. But then when they were a little annoyed or something, they would go back to their own accent, which was R-less, and say things like fourth floor,
People are saying they remember it being the other way around. I don't remember it specifically, but I know that he did it, I thought, in multiple locations on the East Coast, but he was based out of Pennsylvania, yeah? Because he was UPenn.
Yeah. So New York City would be more likely.
But I mean, they're all.
Look it up, but I'm pretty sure I am pretty sure I have it the right way around.
I just remember it being a study that much later in life, as I was doing my own studies, I was like, doggone, above getting away with all these recordings, and here we are having to go through 8 million miles of.
He's still alive.
Of things.
Then I guess it is LeBeau. My bad. Anyway, back to this. We have our runoff poll now. So now you're choosing between two versions. Biggest difference is one diacritic versus two diacritics. And also, I mean, these are just hugely different, actually. 1 versus 2, and which ones get the diacritics. In A, it's going to be S and Z, and Phi and Beta that get the diacritics. In B, it's going to be F and V that get two different sets of diacritics. So this will be a little bit like the Japanese H series. The H series is basic, and then if you put the voicing mark above it, you get B, and if you put the circle diacritic above it, you get P. So that's the choice. Let's see what people think.
Sometimes the voting thing does weird things.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a moment to get some more water. It's just that kind of day.
As a random side note, my Dark Horse was talking about large B's as speakers, and I actually had a student one time who created a community of B speakers, and so her whole language was spoken by giant bees. And it was fun. And diacritics, in case anyone has forgotten that particular term, it's a way of modifying a glyph to become something else. And so, it's like having an E with an acute mark over it. It tells you to pronounce it differently.
Yeah, I'll show
you. So
you.
That's all a diacritic is.
I'll show you a really keen example again from Japanese kana.
And I really like Jake speakers. That's great.
And then
speakers. If I review her paper, which I do have because that was the first class of conlanging that I taught, and upstairs we have a bound book of all their languages, all their grammars.
Nice.
But I'd have to remind myself because in my head I'm even trying to remember the name of the language, and I remember it starts with an SH sound.
And then
Sheoleth or something like that. I'm going to have to.
So this will help to illustrate. So this is the situation with Japanese kana. These two little markies up here say that it's voiced. So this goes from ka to ga. This goes from ha to ba. Don't question it, it just does. And then this little circle, it's just only used for this one. It's only used for this one series, the P series. And so with a little circle, it means pa. And so you can see there's two different diacritics here that achieve two different functions. You might be wondering, wait a minute, wasn't P basic in Proto-Japanese? And it was, but it was lenited in so many instances that now this is rather rare. Compared to other sounds, and so it just made sense when they were devising this orthography in 14th century. I don't know, to make that one the odd character out.
Oh, I should look at the vote. Oh, we got all the votes. I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll.
Okay.
We got a lot of votes and a very clear preference.
Cool.
We want those toothus marks.
All right. Well.
And so tethys is hopefully here to see. the toothus.
Where is old toothus? B speakers.
There's some good little things going on here.
And then in terms of like, we just need to kind of
okay, so
write this somewhere.
Yeah, I'm actually going to write it in my notebook too because I was keeping track of how many we needed. So it was dental marks.
Yeah, dental diacritic.
And that was going to go on TD, SZ, and Phi and Beta, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that reduces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That reduces by 18 because we don't need those.
And so that's
that would be 68, 58.
That's not bad. Now we just need to do the last runoff vote. So we've eliminated B, so we just have a vote with option A and see if that which one wins.
David's taking the runoff thing too far. I also like that because we can use my cute little beaver tooth thing that people reacted to nicely as potentially a dental diacritic mark. But we can still have a different image of a different kind of tooth because our protoform Thaki, it specifically says in the definition that it refers to any tooth, which to me says it does not refer to the most prominent beaver teeth up front, which not only can chew through incredibly hard things like wood, but like can be used to carry. Like they are teeth.
That's true, but like for that image, I mean, with the name of it, like it wouldn't have any other purpose. Like it couldn't be a main glyph.
I know, so I could draw a different tooth if I wanted something to be
like a molar.
Yeah. But we actually wouldn't need it though, because that's a th, and the th is only produced as a dental mark on the S, and so that actually makes sense then. So anyway, all that is to say, I don't have to worry about like, does it make sense that any tooth could be represented by a very specific tooth? Anyhow,
there's Dark Horse is an interesting idea, like not for spiders, but if for humans, if you could see how many distinctions you could get doing something like Cat's Cradle, to see if you can get enough to produce some sort of communication system. That would be interesting. Sorry.
Sorry. I don't know. Am I listening? And Miles, 48? If you're talking about our math, 76 minus 18 should be 58. And we should need 18 fewer glyphs because there's 6 that we are now taking out of the running. 6 times 3 is 18. We now only need the remaining 58. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is a different equation to work right there. 16 times 3 is indeed 48. Oh, Jake. Jake. You know, I had thought about visiting Fiji until this very moment. Now I'm like, piles of ants in the corners. Oh my. Okay, David, so do you want to keep going down a track like this? Not the piles of ants.
See if we can reduce even further.
Or I didn't know if 58 sounded more reasonable. It does to me. Because I already had 32 just from like kind of thinking. Brainstorming things, I feel like I could come up with more.
I'm curious to see how many there are in Japanese. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minus 1. So Japanese has 48 unique symbols, and then the rest are done with diacritics. Oh wait, did I leave out yo and you, or is that in there? No, it's no. Those are in there. Those are in there. Those are in there. Yeah, I don't know. 58 isn't bad. It's just a matter of coming up with those. The only ones I saw is like maybe being targets for having some sort of modification would be the voiceless approximants and nasals, just because they're unusual. That is, I think even speakers would recognize that, something like na versus na is much less natural than ta versus da or sa versus za. So that was one thought to reduce.
We could, well, the W's we don't have to worry about. Those are coming from other sources.
Yep.
We could actually say that L and voiceless L are natural for them.
And just do the nasals.
The nasals, we could actually, it sounds like when you do it, like it sounds like you're getting a lot of forceful air out of your nose. It could be just like this tiny little nose diacritic that represents like that extra nosiness. I mean, they're all nasal, so it's not like it's coming out of another area, but like, I think people are more surprised to find out air is coming out of their nose when they say than they are when they find out comes out of your nose. And I say that because I've had, students like be absolutely shocked when I tell them to hold their nose and produce like an M or an N, and like it sounds so different, and they're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so.
Biblaridian is backing up.
Yeah, I agree, Bib. Oh, Miles had to leave. Goodbye, Miles.
Looks like we're, yeah.
Oh, dang. Clear preference.
It's kind of running away here. So this gets rid of 6, is that right?
Yeah, 6 more are gone. We're down to 52.
Wait. No, 9.
9 more are gone. We're down to 49.
Perfect.
And 49 is my lucky number.
There we go.
So we stop there.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was talking about modern, modern kana, and only counting the major forms. All right, cool. Well, that gives us something a lot more manageable to work with and a clearer path forward. So hopefully we can work that into a viable poll this time around. So sorry about that.
Although it's difficult for me to see a viable poll outside of like smaller polling options, because needing 49 images, like I feel like the poll would be more like, what sound do you want this associated with, rather than should this be included as an image.
Right. Okay.
And I just say that because, like I can generate 17 more images. That's not an issue. The issue is if I need to generate 30 more images, so that way we're voting on 49 out of the 60 or whatever.
Yeah. And by the way, I was including those just so you could see what I was looking at. Basically, I was doing this up till here, right? So that was how I got 7 and 7 rows minus 1. So yeah, there's way, there's we. So wow, way. Whoa. Anyway,
David,
yeah.
do you want?
It's not going to show up in the same spot. It is.
Did you want to potentially work on what you had originally said we would work on today?
Oh yeah. But I think that we've done a lot of good work, and I think that deserves some celebration.
We'll do a Copico now. After the stream is over, we each get a Nanaimo bar.
Oh, that's right. Jesse made Nanaimo bars. For those who don't know what they are, Google it now. It is a particular dessert from that originates from Nanaimo, Canada, and it is basically just a hunk of sugar and calories. It's incredible. And Jesse made them. They're so good. Just wonderful. Worth a look. Anyway, cheers.
Cheers. Oh, the pumpkin ones, Jake? Ooh. Bibloridian said, I learned recently that is that pronounced Thana script? Derived its consonant glyphs from Arabic and Indic numerals. Jonathan dropped the Copico. Let's not.
Cheers.
Drop ours.
Copico, don't drop yours.
That's weird, Jake. I'm not sure if they needed to be cooked longer. Because mine are not typically gummy.
You always got to cook your Copico really, a long time.
Well, honestly, Magpie, if it's some combination of chocolate and peanut butter, I mean,
so
it's going to be delicious, right?
Bibloridian, I have to question at least the way that you worded this. You'd say that, like, I would have just called it, a natural evolution of the Arabic script. So in other words, that it would belong in the Arabic tree, just like, I don't know, Romanian belongs and English belong in the same script tree. What's a better example?
That's true, Jake. Like if your pumpkin had more water, that would really throw it off, and that would make it gummy when you bake it. Just because you would need to use more dry ingredients to make up for it.
Oh, you should, what Jake is saying, you're well familiar with that because of how you have to bake differently in Colorado.
Yes, but in a very different way, yes.
Like for different reasons.
Yeah, because the altitude is insane when it comes to baked goods. And
oh, you go ahead first.
Jonathan, yes, most traditional Nanaimo bars have coconut in the base layer. I pulsed mine in the food processor, so it only gave the flavor of coconut without the feel of the texture of the coconut, because somebody in this house, I won't mention names, but somebody does not like dried coconut texture, like the flakes.
Yeah, I love coconut. I absolutely love coconut. And when I say that, I mean literally crack that coconut open and eat it. I love that. I also love coconut flavor in anything. What I don't like is dried coconut because it's the closest thing to plastic that you can get.
And me, on the other hand, I actually, when I bought the coconut for the Nanaimo bars, Instead of the smaller shredded coconut, I got the chips. So that way all the leftovers I get to snack on, and it's easier to snack on chips of coconut than it is
Thank you,
on the
Diamond.
little shredded ones. And so I am quite excited about that.
Oh. Mm-mm. Huh. Okay, that is strange. All right. My apologies, Biblaridian. That is indeed strange.
Also, Dark Horse is saying that over 2,000 individual string figure patterns have been recorded worldwide since the 19th century. That
Okay. That's what we needed. So Dark Horse has shown us like with over 2,000 string figure patterns. What that means is you could do a smaller syllabary. So I'm not a syllabary. You could do a smaller logography. So not so something like Egyptian, not something like Chinese. And you could easily do any type of a phonological system. So we're talking about like anything from an alphabet to a syllabary and anything in between. If there are 2,000 different patterns for like cat's cradle hand string configurations, that is interesting and incredible. It's nothing that I would do because I don't know if it's just me, but I have always found diagrams for things like shoelaces or knitting or sewing to be hopelessly confusing. I can't follow them at all. I certainly couldn't produce something like that. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't be interested in seeing somebody who was capable and confident with that type of thing. I would love to see what they would do with it. It would mean, though, that as they were explaining it, I might have a very, very difficult time understanding it, especially conceptually. But if you actually show me, that might be cool. Mm. Yeah. Really neat idea. Oh, hang on. This is getting even better. Dark Horse says, I don't know where this is coming from. The Inuit have string figures for reindeer, wolf, and pig that are distinct. Stunning.
From list of string figures on Wikipedia. I'll pull
it up
here. And also, Jonathan is hearing voices in a house that they think they're alone in. Please check that out and make sure you are actually alone in your house. Well, that is terrifying.
You would not survive a horror movie. Telling Jonathan, why don't you go by yourself and check that out?
Well,
maybe bring a rusty flashlight with you.
What? A cast iron skillet does wonders. Okay. Neighbors being loud, probably. Okay. Wow. But I want to see the actual...
There's caribou.
Okay. But some of these don't tell you how to do them, / don't have pictures.
See, I didn't know that the word for caribou was originally a reduplication. The one in the book that I know, it's tuktu, right? Without the coda on the end. But that would help to explain so much when it comes to its declension and use and things like that. Look at that. Things you learn. There are actually different names for all of the positions in cat's cradle. Look at this: cradle, soldier's bed, candles, manger, saw.
Listen.
Diamonds, mattress turned over.
These 3 people worked together to complete 21,200 changes of cat's cradles in 21 hours in Chula Vista, California.
Chula Vista, really?
Yes, it made it into the Guinness Book of World Records until these 2 people completed 22,700 changes in 21 hours In Alberta, Canada.
Well, I'm going to Chula Vista a week from tomorrow. Maybe I can find this historic site.
Is that where the concert is?
Sure is.
Oh, wow.
Super excited. I'm going to see Iron Maiden again, which, I mean, this will be like my 8th time seeing Iron Maiden. But opening for Iron Maiden is a band that I have been excited about for 8 years now. Finally get to see them. I am seeing a band called The Who, not the one that you're thinking of, but a new metal band out of Mongolia, and they use traditional Mongolian instrumentation. I heard a song by them and saw a video, and like the moment I heard it, I was like, this is extraordinary. This is extraordinary. It's metal, it's in Mongolian, and it sounds different from anything I've ever heard. I am so excited to see them.
And then these are the tuk tuk aman kakbik Schwein, so that would be pig, wolf, and reindeer.
I get it. Pretty cool.
Okay.
Oh, Karis, I was going to go see them, and then COVID happened. Canceled their entire tour. It was devastating.
All right.
All right. So now, for the rest of the time, we know we have our marching orders for orthography. For the rest of the time, I thought we would turn to something that will please at least one of you.
Did you see Jonathan's comment?
Oh, did you say woof?
Because it's a wolf. Like I do have a slight wolf.
Yeah, no,
but I don't say wolf.
She has a little bit of an L there. My friend Blaine just says woof, and always has. Anyway, what we are going to get to today is dun 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 numbers.
Now we've already done 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah.
No, I think it's just 1.
Kan isn't different from.
Yeah, look over on this side.
There is a Ninkan, isn't there?
Ninkan, Ninzu. By the way, these numbers that are in there, if you're ever curious, these come from the Veda language, which I created for Arena of Valor. Those are the kind of, the little bunnies that we leave in the hole. Kan and Zu could be numbers, but they just happen to not be in this case.
And yeah, Bubba, if you had been here on time today, I was going to suggest you be the co-host because we were going to do numbers, but then you showed up late and it was just all ruined.
Yeah. So we do know that we are going to be doing base 10. We've got
right.
That. Mm-hmm.
God, I nearly forgot. Okay.
And we have our number 1. I don't remember if it's based on anything or if it's just its own thing.
Why would we document something like that?
I'm a little confused.
Oh, 1 was the source that became what that?
Huh. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
1 is supposed to be older from my recollection.
Okay. Sorry.
Because then 1 started being used as like an indefinite pronoun, meaning 1.
Okay.
Now, if you think it should reduce even more in its number form because numbers change differently than other things.
I have an idea for number 2. Let's see.
Oh, Jonathan, the word order thing is a great trick for deriving ordinals.
And so we have thaki is a word for tooth, any. Do we want to stick with that or do we want to change it? So because it starts with the th, do we want to make that specifically the?
I feel like we had a reason. What did we use that for?
Let's take a look.
Because I feel like we were using it for something else.
Protoform doesn't show up anywhere else.
Did we really just need a word? Oh, we do say up here body parts. Saluthaki is like the beaver's teeth. But we could easily say that it means specifically the teeth that beavers can have.
Yeah, I was thinking because it is two front teeth that beavers have, right? The two big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that we could use that for this one and then base the number 2 off of that as something that's a natural pair. We could actually have 3 teeth words. We could have another word for tooth in general and then another word for a non-front tooth. And that should probably not have a dental in it. Maybe a R, something, back there. How many different types of teeth do beavers have?
Oh, we looked that up.
Oh, they have a pair on the bottom too.
Oh, yeah, to go with. So, I mean, yeah, that could definitely, if you wanted to do 4 because they come in pairs, it's just like what you see are the top 2 before, like, they have to open their mouth wider, I think, to see the bottom 2.
It doesn't feel like these are strongly distinguished back here. So I feel like,
And yeah, Biblaridian is saying just a term to cover molars and premolars because they don't have canines or anything.
in terms of protoforms, I think it's just going to be these front teeth. Let me show you the image I'm looking at. I think it should just be these front teeth versus these right here. And then, of course, later on, there'll be like some modification of this to get the premolar versus molar distinction. So thaki is going to be tooth, front.
Oh my goodness, we could put the diminutive on it to refer to the same teeth that show up in other rodents. Like mice and rats and rabbits, where they have to keep chewing so those front teeth don't keep growing. But they're tiny ones. They're like baby beaver's teeth. They're not, I feel like we had a diminutive. Did I make that up? I made that up.
No,
at some point. But anyway, like, because those are very specific kind of teeth.
Yeah.
But they're not as prominent as the beaver teeth.
That's a really fine idea. So we should probably get on making a diminutive of some kind. All right. So for the molar tooth, we just need a root, something with a G in it. Throw out G suggestions. This is going to be a G as a coda, G as an onset. Just some kind of G in it.
I had an idea, but then I'm like, I swear that's already a word, and I swear it was one of my drawings, but it was. But this was listed as a protoform. Look at the protoform for mud. That's a sound we don't have in our dictionary.
What do you mean? G-A-N voiceless L?
We're not doing it this way?
I mean, same thing. Are you saying that that's how it was actually written?
In the dictionary.
No, that wasn't done well. Let me see. I was looking to see if there were any other instances.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, there are.
Uh, but I do see it in two places here. I'll fix it.
Thank you. But yeah, I was thinking that immediately was like gosh, because it's like, that as much as a side tongue fricative sound as you can get. It's the closest.
Except that
We already have it, so
then yeah, we wouldn't be able to use that. So we can't have. We only have e, and u in the proto dark horse.
how about what does the ua come out as? So if we have gua,
Go.
because I know gau comes out as go. I couldn't remember if ua did the same.
Oh, good.
Comes out as what, say?
Good.
Gu. Okay, so I'm throwing that out there as a suggestion. Jake has gab.
Yeah. Let's try to stay away from GA so that we can potentially use this.
Karis is throwing out fug.
Yeah, it'd show up as woog. I think that's why.
That's out.
Wait.
However, we could do goof.
Let me make sure. No, it shows up as hoog. Oh, even better. No, that's right. Okay, so let's start adding some of these. What shall we have for our molar root?
My suggestion cannot have a coda because it has a diphthong in its protoform. The hug life to space.
And let's go with.
How about G.I. Engma? Ging.
That's also a cool idea. That'll be our fourth. I mean, let me write this up correctly.
Oh, no need to apologize, Artifexian. I only remember this because I just looked at the document with our structures. I otherwise quite often have to ask David, how does this language work again?
And then
I'd be lost without documentation. Jonathan.
Okay, on the left are proto and IPA. On the right is the actual romanization. I think I'm fairly confident these are correct, but I'm going to throw them into Lexergy anyway, just to be sure. And then also, yeah, okay, good. All right, here we go. 4 forms are proto, then modern. We have fug coming out as hoog, tig coming out as tig, geet coming out as geeth, and ging coming out as ging.
You took away my gua.
Oh yeah, just because like I really appreciate what you're saying, where it's like, is it kind of weird to use the VV form like in the orthography? It was otherwise a very good and reputable form.
Keep going. I need more.
Wonderful.
You're almost there.
The best one.
Okay.
Utterly superlative.
And Conling, is wrapping up a work on superlatives right now.
Ooh.
I'm so sad though. I have to do something else for grass.
No, I mean like we could roll with it.
I gotta take that one away. I can make him holding something else.
Yeah,
I just gotta figure out another word.
We could roll with it because like we could say that one's ah.
Well, but then we would need to get rid of oak, which is
Oh.
And then I also need to get rid of bark, which is zao, which is a diphthong.
I'm okay with some of them. It's just,
Anywho.
There could be words for different kinds of grass and also definitely different types of trees. Looks like we've got it. And so, who is our word for molar?
All right, and you're putting that in. I'm going to go do the English. Molar.
Specifically a non-front tooth.
Artifactsian's requesting a runoff. In both of these 4-way votes, we've had 3rd and 4th place tied.
Interesting. Okay, that's good. And now the question is, should there be a catch-all word for any kind of tooth?
Like just
anything that is
tooth-like.
Toothy. Toothish.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
It could make sense because they could find teeth. There are other types of teeth.
Yeah. What is Bibleridian, the Conlinger slash biologist, say? You think it's likely that beavers would have a generic word for any type of tooth? And if so, that it would be basic? Or is this some sort of a modern word?
Like a compound, like a mouth bone.
Yeah, like the way that they'll have a modern word for premolars, but they wouldn't have a protoform for that. Managing moderator Jonathan suggests that it's reasonable that they wouldn't.
Mouth cutlery, yes. Little mouth knives. From what I understand, biologists worry about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's on the table.
I have to say, most biologists I've run into have less anxiety than non-biologists. They always seem like they wear loose-fitting clothing and would be like first in line to say, oh no, on the contrary, you can't eat that, to something weird. All right, and then we'll leave it at that. Originally I wanted Thaki for 2, but I think it's probably better for 4.
That's a good little 4. Thaki. Did you enter it?
No, because I'm wondering, I guess if it's 4, it could be Thaki. I was thinking if it was 2, it would need to be reduced phonologically a little bit. But Thaki works for 4. We haven't entered numerals in the dictionary because we don't know if the way that they're going to be used is going to be a little bit different. Maybe we can get to that after we've at least come up with something for 2, 3, and 5.
Do you mind much if I just like put X's there instead of these words? Because it's kind of throwing me off. Like I can do it while you're doing other things. Okay. Oh, no. was just getting rid of the number we just created. And I used to, because like my brain kept, like, I was convinced that con was a number in this language. And so then I kept looking, going, oh, we already have these forms. Even though I've seen this chart enough, I should know. I should recognize.
There are many different ways to interpret what Bibleridian has said. I choose to interpret it this way. Bibleridian knows many biologists who would debate each other for days on end about whether biochemists have a fairly average level of anxiety. Just spend all day talking about biochemists.
Oh, man. Oh my gosh. Did you comment on Karis' spelling of fetal position? Oh, that's amazing. I love British spellings that throw me for a loop when I see it.
I was going to say, I think that's standard British, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I would imagine so. But like ones that I'm used to seeing, like I'm used to seeing amoeba, right? I have seen encyclopedia in its spellings. And so it's like I've seen some of them enough that it doesn't surprise me. But like fetal did, and so it caught my attention, and I love it.
I don't think that we should do tail because it's already a prefix too.
Yeah.
My next
what were we
pawn, but then that's already a
counting? When we came up with base 10.
Those are little fingies.
And they do have 5?
Mm-hmm.
Right, they have the cleaner claw.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I just now remember the video that we pulled up of the beaver cleaning his fur. Oh, that was delightful. Is that what it's called? Maybe that's what it should be. That. For some reason, I didn't expect their paws to be that hand-like in isolation, and so I was a little surprised when I looked over at the screen and was like, oh my god, there's little hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, connection is great too, with an X.
It's the hind feet that have the preening toe.
Oh, preening toe is what it's called.
Yeah. It makes more sense for them to count on their forepaws.
Yeah. What was paw used for as a prefix?
Not as a prefix. It's
as the palative.
Yeah, the palative mo.
Okay, and that one specifically needs to be the hand paw because of how we used it. Yeah. If we had different words for foot paw and hand paw, that one would have to be hand paw. That's where I was getting at with that, and that wouldn't help us.
So the issue with like what we're, because I said we should come up with number forms first before moving on to how they're used, is, there's an argument that numbers could come first, and if they did, we could just roll with the same form mo. But if they come after, it'd be weird for 5 to be mo, because then you could end up with momo.
But we all like Momo, right? I also want to just put on the chopping block, so to speak, that 2 and 3 could be basic.
Yeah.
Before they get up to 4. Or at the very least 2 could be.
Yeah.
And in fact, 2 could have just at one point been a word they used to mean more than 1, and then it got really specifically used to mean 2 and exactly 2.
No, I like that. All right, let's do that first. So we've got uv and thaki. What's two gonna be? Just need a protoform. Any protoform, as long as we haven't used it, could be anything. Throw out suggestions. While I look up some things.
And ooh, okay. And I'm double checking some protoforms as I
do have partial forms.
Oh, we do have that. Okay.
It seems like they should have. They should come last in the string of adjectives, like demonstratives. There is the Jesse's suggestion, so we'll bring that back.
What was my suggestion?
The GUA, remember?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's a little big
Okay, I have
for us.
Lu, Si, and Bai as protoforms to throw out to see if you like any of those.
Say them again.
Oops, I'm in the wrong area. Lu, Si, and Bai. Oh, we already have Bai. Dang it. We don't just have Ba. So I could say Ba.
We have a suggestion from Jake that's boo.
To continue the oo, boo. Do you have enough you're happy with to like
I'm
put together a poll?
I'm gonna take half of Serhan's suggestion. Do if we haven't used it yet. No, we haven't. Jonathan, are you using the IPAG? So proto we have here, gua becomes ga. Bu just comes out as long bu. Short lu is lu, and is ung.
All right. Oh. What just happened, YouTube? I somehow swiped away from my view, which is unfortunate because then it like stopped chat for a hot second. What I intended to be looking at was roughly how many viewers we have. There we go. We, I think, have all the votes in.
Very good. Looks like Jesse's gua rides again.
And by again, you mean for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It was shot down last time, David.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But now.
I'm fine with having a Proto 3 for this one. Unless we want to do...
Unless we want to do what? Sorry.
No, Proto 3. We need a Proto 3.
Okay. What feels 3-ish?
And so far, remember, for 1 we have uv, and for 2 we have ga. And then something, and then thaki. Or thaki.
Uga. Saki. Uga.
Yeah, thinking about that Jake. All about that Jake. About that Jake. About that Jake. I have to say, for me, the trope that I despise the most from cartoons is beavers whistling. I hate it. Beavers are, my favorite animal, and to see them reduced to such a thing on screen, it really hurts me. I do not like it at all.
Okay, so.
I guess if I had to choose a favorite animal, I guess it would be humans. It's pretty depressing, isn't it? It is Artifexian, it is. Can I whistle? Yeah, but mostly I do ingressive whistling. Every so often I can do a loud, egressive one.
Everything that I just wrote down as a suggestion is already used, so never mind.
All right, got it.
You already have enough? Can I stop looking then?
I have 2.
Oh.
I like whistling when it's whistling. I don't like this bizarre whistle that's added to the speech of beavers when they pronounce S. It infuriates me. In fact, I'm a huge fan of the song "Patience" by Guns N' Roses, which begins with a very long whistled section, expertly whistled section. By Axl Rose. Just incredible. But also there was something that I was truly enchanted by. There was this performer, I think it was from Ireland, older gentleman, who specifically performed, as a whistler, and just such deep, resonant whistles with vibrato. Really incredible. It was quite something to listen to. Oh no, Jonathan, are you familiar with like, just think of any of the beavers from like Woody the Pooh? I also really, 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 really hate the S's. This is from English that you hear sometimes, where people really, yes, that type of thing. Hate it. Hate it. And I will, like, leave the room if I can.
What forms do you have?
We only have 2. We only have Ethan Ga from Artifexian and Dark Horse. Everybody else been...
No, I'm writing down, and I hate all the forms I'm coming up with, and then the ones I like are already used, or something incredibly similar to them is already used, and so
I'll start coming up with
good.
Some forms.
Please do.
I mean, look, uv, ga, me, simple.
Until you make sure that we haven't used it. That one appears to be free. I am just apparently not feeling for
Oh, we haven't
certain
used
syllables.
That. Yes, that is odd. All right, so our forms are 4 in number. We have eth becoming eth, nga becoming nga, mai becoming me, and beeth becoming beeth. Too late, hot plate. Sorry, Bubba.
Oh goodness, the other day David and I were on a flight where the pilot came on to make an announcement, and not only did they have the whistle S, but they were doing it over a very bad PA system. Like it was crackly, and so I swear all that came across were the S's.
Mm-hmm.
And I so wanted to just stop the whole announcement because I'm like, I can't even hear what you're saying. I just hear all these S's, and it hurt. It hurt my ear.
All 7 sky objects that could have been observed. Which are these, Sarah? You intrigue me.
Oh goodness, I feel like this may need a runoff.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop it, and we're gonna do a runoff because we got a pair that are close.
Well, I would say Earth couldn't be observed as a sky object from Earth. Sun, moon, yes. Like, I'm surprised you don't list moon there. With the naked eye, you can sometimes see some of the planets, but not always. Venus, yes. I mean, in the right,
Double check.
months and everything. And Mars, you can usually see, but like, yeah, Artifexian, that sounds much more likely. Isn't it? It's gonna be me, not gotta. It's gonna be me. David knows that song.
Oh, I learned about that now. So yeah, I had no idea.
Learned about it because of me.
Yes, yeah. I learned about it because of you, because I would see these memes with Justin Timberlake saying it's gonna be May, and I just didn't get it at all. Like I'd never heard this song, or if I'd heard it, I hadn't paid attention to it, and so I don't know. I just thought he was a particular fan of May, or like this, or he wrote this song like about how when May comes, something fun is going to happen. No, I don't think that was last week.
Not last week. No, but Karis, I think you did mention it, and that's when I explained it. And then Serhan, okay, that makes way more sense. Yeah, it's easy to just get listing and start listing planets and forget that, you intended to do moon instead of Earth.
We got 17 votes. It's separated by a single vote.
Dang.
How many viewers we have?
16 according to this.
Yeah, I think they were done. So,
well, this one says 17. I don't know. I don't know.
So I guess, well, somebody's trying to stuff the ballot box, I think. But Jesse, what do you prefer, me or beeth?
Just a second. People are still stuffing the ballot box, and beeth is what they're thinking. Oof, ge, me, thaki. Oof, ge, beeth, thaki. Oof, ge, beeth, thaki. Oof, ge, me, thaki. I mean, just in terms of like counting, I like May better.
Yeah.
Uhka May Thaki. Uhka be Thaki.
Yep.
Um,
It's
I'm
gotta
not
be May.
against using beads for something else.
Yeah. Let's create something for Beeth. Something that's very visual. Could be made into an image of some sorts.
Well, you say that, but let me double check and make sure I don't already have something for BI pulled that I really like. I don't think so. I think we're good.
How about not?
Where do you see that?
Oh, that's what I'm asking. How about not? Oh, no, we already have a word for. Well, no, that's not in a tree. No, I meant like not as a. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, that's something that can easily be made into an image, a knot. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that makes you sad? What's going on?
Knots are not as easy to draw as you seem to think, but yes.
Hmm.
Big is going to be a knot. Okay. It ends up just kind of looking like all the other circle things.
Hmm?
Oh, it's just they end up looking like all the other circle things. When you reduce it? Right, but like when you start reducing things, it's hard to tell that from, say, how a lily pad would get reduced versus, say, you know, how some of these other things are going to get reduced. And so they all just start looking the same. And so it just gave me pause. That's all. Or is it mauve? Is that a paw? What is paw again?
Mo. Mav.
Mauve. It gave me mauve. What was the reduced form? Mauve.
Okay. All right. So now we've got our 1 through 4. So let's go to the adjective section, because this is where I think we need to start the discussion.
Oh, for numbers?
Yeah. So, or maybe demonstratives. These demonstratives, they double as pronouns, and they come last in a string of adjectives, and they do have partitive forms. So the question here is if we're going to do the same thing. I think there is an argument to be made that numbers will be different. They will come at the end. They will, of course, assign the partitive, and that includes the number 1, by the way, as opposed to many languages. Here, I think it makes sense that it would assign the partitive. But I don't think that there's an argument for them not having partitive forms. Essentially, they would have undergone some kind of semantic bleaching.
And so it would be string of nouns. Or sorry, string of, if we have multiple adjectives, it'd be noun, any adjectives, demonstrative, number. If we had all elements together.
Good question.
Or would a number cancel out demonstrative?
I was thinking they would cancel out, but the thing is, you could say these 2 beavers, these 2 red beavers.
If moving forward from there, I could see an argument to say, yes, you know, demonstratives can be used as an adjective in front. before a number where a number could follow it, with the demonstrative and the partitive. Then the question is, do the numbers ever have a partitive form?
Yeah, but now I'm starting to rethink that decision.
Okay.
I don't think it necessarily makes sense, because I can see why you would want to talk about these 3 logs as opposed to those 3 logs. I mean, it's something that, they're builders.
But if you do, you may have to use apposition and say 3 of the logs, these, blah, 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 blah. Like if you really need to specify these 3 logs versus those 3 logs.
And the reason I want to figure this out is because, of course, we also need to think about how we're going to do ordinal numbers, which are also adjectives.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm getting a weird potential idea, but I need to look at the grammar more closely to remember if this is if you recall from 25 minutes ago or so, 1 as a number was being used as a pronoun.
Yeah.
That ended up giving rise to what or that.
Yeah. And
so these numbers were used, at least in the smaller forms, the ones that were protoforms all the way back. There's an argument to be made that these numbers were used as pronouns. So what if in counting it actually was like the number itself was sort of an appositional pronoun beside the noun phrase? And so it was like,
oh, these beavers too.
Yeah. And or logs 4 or logs 3, really, because we're thinking of the smaller numbers, which would give rise to how the larger numbers end up behaving just by pattern. And so they're kind of their own little units, and that could separate then how ordinal numbers get worked in as more closely adjectival.
Yeah.
So they are actually treated differently.
Sure.
Whereas these little pronoun-y things, that also means you don't have to specify. They can stand in on their own just as pronouns, like I see 2, as you're talking about. If you know what you're talking about, you don't have to say I see 2 beavers. You already know you're talking about the beavers. You can say I see 2. And so it's built in as a system for saying they're also pronouns. But I don't know if we do treat it that way.
Keep going.
So one of the things I was thinking is if we treat it that way, the number could actually show up first, because it's like 3 pronoun. These beavers are sleeping. Or just 3 and then beaver sleeping. Where the number the number and the noun would be in, the same case form, just side by side, because it's in apposition. In which case the cardinal number wouldn't assign partitive. Ordinal numbers would, because it would be an adjective.
Yeah. I like more the idea of the ordering flipped, but yes, I'm following.
Okay.
So here I'm going to write this out. Okay, so here we have the beaver is stacking the frogs. Doesn't really matter what the number is.
Mm-hmm.
So here is the question. The beaver is stacking 3 frogs. We have this. We have this. Do we have... And of course this doesn't assign partitive, so that's unfortunate. I would like one where it assigns partitive, but...
Why don't you, instead of that one,
this.
use the sentence. What was the sentence that just had one argument but needed mo?
Carried. Oh, it was with grass, but that the grass was a mass noun. But it could be the beaver carried the frogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because right? Yes, carrying requires mo.
So yeah, the beaver carried the frogs.
Yeah. It's beeve is to carry.
Yes.
All right. So this would be... because this is mo.
Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, bungo. Okay. God, it's already 4:05.
I know. So like this is obviously it's terrible. We can't do this.
Yeah.
It logically it is what should be the way that this construction is supposed to have come about. It's essentially a deemphatic structure. The beaver is carrying the frogs, or these frogs 3, right? Theoretically, but I would say that historically this one makes sense if the way that this was done occurred after. I'm sorry, if the way this was done occurred before there was actually any case marking. So it would be, originally it would have been, beaver, frog, this, 3, with no case marking. But then the case marking arose later, and so you would probably throw it afterwards. I like this one the best.
In that one, are you suggesting that the numbers would not have partitive forms?
Yeah.
Or at least when they're used as cardinal?
Yeah, but okay, if I can talk myself back into this one though, this would be the beaver is carrying 3 frogs. This would be the beaver is carrying the third frog. I think I've got that right, yeah?
Why would bunga no longer be in the partitive if it were seen as apposition? The beaver, the frog.
Because it never got a chance to get case historically.
Because it started out in this order up here, and before case was assigned, this one was dropped. Because why do we need it?
No.
No.
This is the proto would have been that's just beaver, right? We got beaver, frog, 3 carry. That would have been the proto. At the time that case started to be assigned, this would have been sale, bunga, me, mo, beef. And so suddenly this mo is assigning this here. And so it becomes, it doesn't assign it here because it's blocked. That is under the assumption that this was complete apposition and not, modification. Because if it was modification, it should assign the partitive. Since it's not, since it's apposition, this doesn't assign the partitive. And so when this comes on, it goes at the end of the entire noun phrase. It assigns it here, but it blocks it from assigning here. This satisfies the case rule of this, but there's no reason for any case assignment here, simply due to the fact that this wasn't originally modification, it was simple apposition. I really like this.
Then I say go forward with it.
But does what I said, does it make sense?
I think it does. Right now, I'm honestly too hungry for my brain to logic everything out, but I think it does. And so I'm ready at 4:09 to end the stream so I can get my afternoon snack. All right.
Jake, theoretically, we're actually going to have the orthography poll we were supposed to have last week, this week. We'll see if we make it. Pleasant Dreams Artifacts, honestly, I cannot tell you how much it warms my heart to know that you've been actually staying awake for these streams. Like, I know what it's like being a non-morning person, and so I can imagine for somebody who is a non-night person like you, this is a bit of a struggle. And so, like, really, it warms my heart that you've been watching these. It means a lot. So yeah, we're going to do that. Poll is going to be orthography. I like this. I'm going to keep this here and then kind of write it up somewhere, I think. And then that'll be in the PDF for the next version of the PDF.
Excellent. Oh, and have so much fun in Peru. Ooh, that's amazing. Ooh. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. If you're a patron, there is a stream this Saturday if you're able to make it at 1 p.m. Pacific. And then also on the 1st, there will be a new episode dropping on October 1st of LangTime Chat. So there will be a new challenge starting. So until then, everyone stay grammar and have a wonderful week.